Welcome to Heaping Spoonful, a twice-monthly conversation with restaurateurs, chefs, growers, and others who have helped generate the legends associated with eateries across the Mid-South. The team at Benny Keith is proud to sponsor this adventure with the goal of preserving the stories that have helped cultivate an amazing food scene across the Mid-South. So kick back and enjoy a Heaping Spoonful.
Hello, everybody out there, and welcome to Heaping Spoonful, the show where we talk about the Mid-South food scene. I'm Brian McFadden. I am a co-owner and chef of Brewed and Barley, smack dab in the middle of Argenta, other known as Dogtown. I've pretty much done everything in this business. Right now, currently chef, owner at a restaurant that I love, dream of mine. But I have been in the trenches, but I feel like we're always in the trenches. It's kind of one of those things. Dish pit to server, busboy to mopping floors to, you name it, done everything. And I think that is the way that most successful people in the kitchen are. But it's an honor to be here. I really appreciate Benny Keith for giving me the opportunity. Rusty Mathis, general manager. Rob's going to make us sound good. We just talked to Rob. He's the tech guy over here. So we're looking forward to this. And super looking forward to talking to you. So I have across the table from me somebody that is big in the Little Rock food scene here. I have Shanna Merriweather. And if you don't know who Shanna is the executive chef over at Trios. Shanna, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Absolutely, absolutely. We chatted a little bit before we started recording, before we started doing this. And, 2 weeks ago, when Kelly and I sat and talked, I got here, it was my first show that I did in recording, and I got here way too early. I was even Kelly was Brian, just relax, bro. Everything's fine. You just chat, you're just talking, that's all you do. And Kelly and I are pretty good at that. So since I got here so early, I was downstairs with Shane Henderson, chef over here at Benny Keith, and I was going over people that I wanted to have on the show. And I said, I want to get some kitchen people in here. I want to get some chefs in here. And your name came up, and Shane was like, yes, you should get Shanna in here. You should get Shanna in here. He's like, I don't think she's done the show before. So
I have not, and I appreciate Shane for thinking about me on this.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. He's a big supporter.
He is. He does a great job for us too. So
that guy, he kills it. But we're not going to talk about Shane. We're not going to talk about, because you know what? We start talking about Shane, it's going to be over. That's all we're going to talk about. I think I want to have his wife on in a few weeks, so I think we'll bash him on that show.
Okay.
But so unfortunately, I don't see you all that much because we both work. That's what we do.
Right.
We work.
Yes.
There's a lot more than that, but mostly we work.
That's right.
But I wanted to know a little bit about your history. I can pinpoint certain parts of my career when I was young, not even a career yet, where I was this is what I want to do. Do you have one of those moments?
I think mine hit probably around my senior year in high school. I honestly never wanted to be a chef. I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Really?
Yes. And, in my senior year, I noticed that I struggled through school a lot, and I had to figure out something else that I thought I would be good at. And my first job, I worked at Mexico Chiquito. Okay. I was the only female in the kitchen, worked with all guys. They didn't want to teach me. I had a server that came back and taught me. And within 6 months of being there, the guys finally warmed up, and, it was like a big family. I had a great time doing it. And I had to think about what I really enjoyed doing, and cooking was part of it. So I was like, I want to give this a shot.
What's funny is that we say that it's not there. So I have a young lady that works in my kitchen right now. And I do feel like she had to prove herself a little bit more. Not to me, because I I'm not going to say that I have a great eye for that kind of stuff, but when I interviewed her, I was like, yeah, this young lady's like, she has something there. But I do think even now, like, women got to push a little bit harder, especially when you have those guys that have been in the kitchen, like, forever. Like, some of those guys over there, like, how long were some of those guys in the kitchen for? That was a pretty popular place, right?
Yes. I mean, when I started there, most of the guys in the kitchen had been there for 10 to 15, some of them 20 years. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, yeah.
I think a lot of it is a lot of it's like job security stuff, or it's just like, you got to prove yourself. It's one of those things. I mean, guys have to do it too, but I do think that women, even nowadays, have to push like a little bit harder.
I do agree with you on that. I mean, there's just kind of that scale in the kitchen of can they sit there and do this too? Mm-hmm. But I think if you're able to just, push yourself through it, show the guys that you're able to do anything that they can. You might have to ask for a little help with like lifting up a few things, but, still keep up with them.
I think the old, which I know what your work ethic is like, you show up every day, you work hard, probably the first one, in the kitchen, last one to leave, you're doing the orders. You're like, no, this is not a thing. We don't do that like this. You know? I can definitely see you. So when we do that, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but when we do that dinner every year with Cappy and with Aaron and all those, you pretty much run it over there. Like everybody else is there, but you're like, hey, everybody's like, all right, let's talk to Shanna and see what's going on. It's a thing.
It is.
For sure.
It is. But starting at Trios, though, I was just a little baker girl.
Really?
Yeah. It was kind of crazy to me. Starting at the culinary school, I didn't have a job. I worked at Walmart, and, I wanted to be a pastry chef.
There you go.
Obviously, that didn't happen.
I want to be a pastry chef, too. I'm terrible at baking. I can't do it.
I miss baking, but, yeah, I wanted to. And Cappy looked at me, and she's just like, Shanna, I don't think this is the way you need to go. And I'm like, but this is what I want to do. But then going through the apprenticeship program, and finishing the apprenticeship program, I got moved from baking to working at night with the chef that she had, and learned that I got really, really good on the line. I didn't have to question the chef that was there. I could time everything in my head. I'd have the plates up and ready for them. And I don't know, it just kind of went from there. It's kind of crazy.
It's so funny when we talk about, there are so many people out there that think like being a chef or being a line cook is like, guys, a ticket comes in, you just cook it. Like, yeah, no. How about no?
No.
Because a ticket's coming down on that end too. Say if it's, on garmage or whatever, and you got a Caesar salad going with a well-done steak. So it's like, you got to time that out. You're not a ticket come in and you just put it up in the window and then it sits there.
Right.
That's not even close to a thing. Was that, so do you work, is Trios an expo kitchen? Like, do you expo?
Yes, I expo pretty much every night. I am lucky now that my staff has been built up that I only have to get on the line when I am desperately needing and to help them get out of the grind.
Yeah.
But yeah, I expo every night.
I can tell you this right now that I think that is like one of my favorite things in the world to do, to just like orchestrate what's coming out of the kitchen and what's happening and being able to say, all right, guys, fire this. I'm going to need this. Even last night, we were talking about, for some reason, how busy we were last night. I don't know where it came from. It came out of nowhere, but we had like a slow Friday night on a Monday, which is great, right, for a Monday. And so in the window, just being like, okay, this is what I'm looking for right now, and then I'm coming after that well done. This is what I need. I need that, blah, 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 blah. There's something about that to me, just that little dance. And I love having people there to like kind of watch and like figure it out what we're doing.
That's right.
I love it. There's so much more to it. But there's a joke that we have in our kitchen too over at Brood. Everybody wants to be an expo. I think every person that walks in the kitchen wants to be an expo. We put up screens this year, so no more printing tickets. We put up screens this year. And of course everybody was like, "Oh God, we're putting screens up." You know, like they were like, but now they love it. But everything is so everybody can see everything now. That like when a ticket comes in, I feel like half the people on the line are like calling stuff out, and you're like, "Please don't do that." I think everybody wants to be an expo.
I can see that.
Yeah, everybody.
Even the servers when they walk through that door.
We want to get into a server conversation right now because we can get into a server conversation.
Right.
Well, that's the other thing about the screen too is like if it gets tapped off the screen on Expo, it's gone on all screens.
Okay.
So if somebody accidentally taps something off, or like we're going to run this meatloaf for table 30 when it really should have went to table 10 because the rest of the stuff for 30 is not done yet, and they tap it off Expo side, next thing you know, we can't see anything, like we're blind. And there's a way to bring it back up. But when you're in like the heat of the battle on a Friday night, you don't have time. Mess with this computer screen.
That's right.
Are you kidding me? It's nuts. Let's talk about like specific dishes. Like I rattled off a couple weeks ago like my grandmother's like ham and cheese sandwich, how like stupid and basic it is, but just how good it was. I can pinpoint like specific dishes that I had growing up at different places that I remember, and what I was like, why is this so good? Like I make this at home like a million. Why can't I figure this out? And I try anything basic, like I said, from a ham and cheese sandwich to whatever beef Wellington. You know,
right.
Like, is there a dish that you're like that you had that you ate one time, whether from a family member or from a restaurant, where you're like, whoa, what is this?
You know, when I think about, I can always go back to my mom's lasagna. You know,
that's a good one.
And my parents were, working 2 jobs, 3 jobs growing up. So mom was always in the Betty Crocker cookbook.
Nice.
That's about where she was at.
Hey.
I mean, they were military. They had like 30 minutes whenever they got off of work, but lasagna was always something that I always loved when she made, because you'd have all that cheesiness and the good, saucy meat, but then the top of it would get like crispy on the edges, and you get that kind of like burnt crispy noodle part, and you mix it in. I don't know. There's something about that always holds a little place in my heart.
And everybody thinks that lasagna is not easy. Like you have to it's gotta be set right. I mean, we're talking eggs, ricotta, or you have people use cottage cheese sometimes. Like there's all those different ones. Was your mom she ricotta?
She was a cottage cheese.
Nice. Mm-hmm. There we go. There we go.
So.
It's creamier. I remember the first time I was banquet chefing at a place called the William Penn Inn, and we had to do lasagna for, I don't even know how many. It was hundreds of people we're doing lasagna for. And the chef was like, we're going to use cottage cheese. And I was like, what? Are you serious? And of course, at the time, it's cheaper than ricotta cheese,
right.
But there's nothing wrong with it. It makes it nice and creamy. And we whipped it. We ran it through the blender and stuff like that. So we just didn't throw curds in there. But are you a corner person? Are you a middle person?
I'm probably a corner person.
Yeah, it's got that crispy edge.
Yeah, something about the corner. It's kind of like even when you get a brownie.
Yeah.
I need that corner piece.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like if I'm a Sicilian pizza, I'm taking the corner all day.
Yep.
And my kids, they side with my wife. My wife she'll go middle. I'm like, that's fine. I'll take all the corners.
I'm with you on that.
And I will eat all the corners in that sitting.
Okay.
Where did you grow up? Did you grow up in Arkansas?
I'm mainly from Arkansas, yes. Like I said, my parents were military. I was born over in the UK.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
And, they got moved to Jacksonville, where the air base is down there. And then grew up in Texas a little bit. Had to live with my grandparents for a year. They both got TDY'd at the same time. And then we moved to Mississippi after that, and then back to Arkansas. So we just kind of moved around a little bit.
Mississippi. So we talked about before. We talked about like regional dishes, like it's funny that you brought up Mexican chiquito because that's one thing that Kelly brought up because they were known for their cheese dip.
Right.
So that's a regional thing in Arkansas. You know, Philadelphia's obviously Philly cheesesteak or scrapple and all that kind of stuff. What's Mississippi?
You know,
Like Louisiana's like probably gumbo, right?
yeah.
Or etouffee.
I'm not 100% sure.
I didn't know if they had one, to be honest with you. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one.
I'm sure people will like send a message and be like, "Hey, idiot, this is what it is." Like, send it. We do a couple like Midwest things. We do the big pork sandwich, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Has there been anything that you have had that like this is fantastic? I'm gonna put this on the menu, or I'm gonna run it as a special, or something like that.
I think when I first started creating menus for Trios, my dad had taken me to a restaurant in Texas, and they had this like stuffed avocado that was fried. And I wanted to make up my own version of it because when we ate it down there, it kind of reminded me of like a chili relleno, the batter on the outside of it.
Oh, so almost like a tempura batter, almost.
Yeah,
Okay,
almost.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm like, I don't know if I want to have the tempura one.
Yeah.
And I came back from vacation. I said, Cappy, I just want to make something. And I made this achiote marinated chicken that had cheese, and then I stuffed it inside the avocado, and then I breaded it with cornflakes. And cornflakes are such a great thing.
Yo, I will
frying.
mess up some cornflakes. And yeah, fry it anyway. Yeah.
Right.
So you fried it.
I fried it, and then I plated it, and I just did like a really nice like cilantro cumin cream sauce with it, and I put it on the plate, and Cappy just looks at me and she goes, Shanna, it really does just look like a dinosaur turd. And I'm like, okay.
I can hear her voice saying that.
Right. And I was like, okay, I understand. I get it. I kind of see where you're going with it. I said, but let's go for the flavors.
Yeah.
Let's not look at how the presentation is.
Yeah.
Let's go for the flavors. And then, like, she tried it, and she's just like, oh, my God, like, this is great. And it was probably one of the, first things that, like, was a consistent that came back on the menu. And so that was kind of a nice thing.
You still run it every once in a while?
I do. Normally around like May, I try to flip up some of my appetizers that we do. So yeah.
That sounds delicious. I would totally be down for that. And I love playful stuff like that, like cornflakes. I mean, So we have a few people that work in our kitchen in the morning, and Latinos. And sometimes we'll do stuff like that. We'll not necessarily cornflakes. We haven't done that, but we did a fried avocado once.
Yeah.
And one of the guys that works for me in the morning, Jan, he's like, "Just fry everything, don't you?" And I was like, "It's delicious, man. Yes. If I can fry it, I'm gonna fry it. All right."
I mean, we are in the South.
Yeah.
So.
We are. Yeah, we are in Arkansas. Yeah. Oh wow. So when you look at Trios, when you look at like the website and stuff like that, it says New American Cuisine, but that's what it is. It's like playful American with all these influences, right? Am I right by saying that?
That is right. I mean, I feel like we get the opportunity to kind of do what we want since we change our menu once a month. I mean,
Like your entire menu?
Yes, the entire menu. So it's 11 dishes that we change every month. It used to be twice a month.
Oh, jeez.
And I looked at Cappy and I said, this is crazy. We need to stop. And I was like, I don't even know how you got into doing this twice a month. And she's like, it was the chef before you. I said, Cappy, this is so much work.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
most restaurants change theirs quarterly. And I'm like, we're doing it 12 times a year still. So
You know how many times we change the menu at Brood?
how many?
Maybe once a year. But we run a lot of specials. We run a lot of specials.
Right.
Which is another thing too, is so not many people understand that. So when you're changing menu and you're talking about twice a month, that's just wild to me. I mean, there's obviously, you have those kitchens where it's like everybody's watching The Bear right now.
Right.
You know, so the guy's changing the menu every day. I would probably walk out of that kitchen. Well, I would give my notice, but I wouldn't
I agree with you on that one.
changing the menu every day.
Yeah.
Unless you have like such a build up like portfolio that you're like, okay, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. But that's just seems crazy to me. But those aren't the restaurants that you and I are working right now. I mean, we're grinders. I mean, we're grinding right now.
Right.
I know you guys do a business up there. So even changing it once a month to me is kind of crazy. You know, we have a couple things on our menu like that we are like, you know, fresh catch, you know, so we're bringing in, you know, stuff like that and we change it. And those are just certain dishes. So to change the menu once a month, what's your formula? So I can tell you, like, my wife knows when there's something going on in the restaurant because there's cookbooks all over the dining room table, probably a couple beers. And I'm like, yeah, we're doing menu changes next month. So this is what I'm doing. Do you have like a process?
You know, I get to about the middle of the month and I'm just like, I know I got to work on a menu. And I'm just, there are times, I was telling Stephanie, you know, one of our managers up there, I said, you know, I know we always have great menus, but some menus supersede others. Oh, yeah. And so, like, the menu we have on right now, I'm so impressed with. I mean, just the vibrant colors that we have on it. But the process, though, there are times that I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm just hungry. And I've done a whole menu in like 2 hours just because I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And, but I kind of try to look at the seasons of what's going on. You know, like right now it's still summertime. It's hot. I try to have my 3 seafoods, my 1 red meat protein, and then have my staples, beef, chicken, and vegetarian. And now we have the vegan option as well. But I feel like that's how my process goes. It's just like, where am I at in the month? Mm-hmm. How many months do I have to get ahead of things? You know, and go from there on it.
And not to mention, too, you guys do a boatload of catering also.
We do. We've kind of backed off a lot just because of staffing purposes.
Yeah.
I think everybody's been fighting with that for months and probably a good year.
It is brutal.
It is.
It's brutal. And actually, that's one of the things that we connect on a lot. It's just like staffing. I've been very fortunate where I think maybe the last 2 times you had texted me and asked if I needed somebody. I didn't really need anybody, but there was always in the back of my head, I was always like, maybe I should just interview him. Maybe I should just talk to him because the bottom could fall out at any minute now.
That's true.
Staffing, I hate to say this, but I think like it actually started a little bit on the decline before COVID. And then COVID just knocked it out.
It did.
Now it's just like, and in a way I understand. First of all, I mean, I'm through and through, like, I'm not getting out of this business. This is what I do. You know, I mean, I'm probably going to die in that kitchen one day, and I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that, you know?
I feel like I'm probably going to be the same way.
Yeah. Because now we're going back, very long time ago, but in my 20s, I had like what you would quote unquote, this kills me, and I don't believe this, but I'm going to say it. I had a real job in the morning, but I was still working restaurants at night. Like
So you're talking about like a 9-to-5 job?
Yeah. I guess that's what they call a real job. Yeah.
Okay.
My wife says that every once in a while, and I'm like, could you not say that, please? Could you not say real job?
Yeah.
Because the last time I checked,
I still do a real job.
Yeah. But there's so many other things that come with it. I mean, we just talked about staffing. I mean, staffing it's really been brutal, like I would say the last year. And you said, I think you and I are kind of in the same boat right now where I do have a really good crew. That's not wood, but I will knock on wood.
Find some wood.
Yeah. I have a really good crew right now so last Saturday night, I was able to do a catering and just go do this catering at somebody's house. And I was pretty much done for the night. You know, still a couple phone calls, a couple text messages here and there, you know, which you're never going to get away from.
Right.
But I do have an amazing crew, and I have a great sous chef right now. And you're kind of in the same boat. But again, I just said, like, that could just any moment it feels like you're just waiting for it to happen. And that's another thing, you know, we deal with staffing, all the paperwork and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Do you guys share on that? Do you do that, or does like you and Cappy share that?
Well, Cappy really hasn't done much of the kitchen part of the paperwork anymore. I try to keep up on all the food updates and keep her just mindful what's happening. And then when it comes to, you know, costing out stuff, we kind of sit down together and we do that part of it. Yeah. I try to get to a certain point whenever we do the menus and just say, hey, check over it, see if you want to change anything type thing. But, you know, I just promoted one of my guys to be my sous chef.
Nice.
And so he's learning a lot. He's learning how to do orders, and you know, it's a big thing at Trios. We just have so many different items that we order from.
Yeah.
And
different vendors and
stuff.
Yeah.
And so, you know, but he's doing a good job.
So the gentleman that we promoted to sous chef, I want to say it was probably about 6 months ago. I guarantee if I were to call him right now, he'd be like, Chef, it was this date, this time, blah, blah, blah. You know, he was super excited about it. But I'm not going to say a young guy, but a younger guy, younger than me. I got him from Tacos for Life.
Okay.
He was over there for like 2 years. And then we weren't even interviewing at the time. And he just showed up one day and was like, I just want to do something better, you know? And I was like, hey, everybody starts pantry, fryer, you know, and then we'll move you down the line, this and that. Do you kind of have the same process? Like when you hire somebody in the kitchen, do you have like a set order of things?
I want to say that originally I did.
Yes.
But, you know, in the last year, it's probably been longer than that. It's probably been like 2 years. Now, my salad guy is kind of scared to move along, and I can't get him past what he's doing, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to push him if he's not ready to do anything like that. But that makes it a little bit harder because normally we try and start people out on our salad stations and desserts and all that, and teach them just the mainstay, you know, making Alfredo sauce, making our shrimp enchilada sauce. And but now it's like I have to bring people in to learn the actual special part of everything on the menu and teaching them straight saute and, you know, and especially if they don't have any experience, that makes it really, really hard because you want to like work somebody up into that.
Yeah, especially like the pressure of a saute station.
Yes.
But I feel like most people that I interview for line cooks that have any bit of experience at all, they all want to sling pans. Like, they all want to be on saute. Like, everybody wants to be on saute. That's what they want to do, you know? Yeah. And then they get on my saute station, and they're like, oh, okay, I don't know. Maybe grill would be cool, you know? Maybe pantry would be cool.
Right. See, I always loved that. In our kitchen, we have three stations on the hot side. You have your grill. You got your saute area that's going to help the grill and plating. And then we have the cold station that is still helping out with a little bit of saute, but doing a lot of the cold setup. I always love the middle section right there because I can help the grill person out. I can help the person next to me out. And there are times that we've gotten so busy that I leave the expo station and I go to that middle section and I'm still expoing in that middle station. And I'm just like, everybody, I don't want anybody to talk. My voice is the only one that is going to be heard tonight. Yeah. And it takes me probably about 15 minutes, but we get out of there and everything. And I know some of my newer guys, when they don't ever see me on the line, they're like, I don't know if she can really do this. Yeah. And, my other guys that have been with me for like 12 years, they're like, I thought that too. She's a woman. She isn't going to be able to keep up on the line. And the first time I saw her do it, I was just like, what is happening type thing. So. Yeah.
I do feel like every once in a while, because I don't spend a ton of time on the line. I've been cooking lunch here and there, to give a couple guys some breaks and to do some cross-training. We have a guy right now that he's like, Chef, I really want to learn pantry. I actually did bring him in as like a grill cook, saute cook, and he cooks lunch. But he's like, I really want to learn all the pantry stuff. That way I can help out down there, that type of thing. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll come in, I'll open up hot side, I'll do lunch, not a big deal. But a lot of people, I think they do kind of get stuck in, like you said, you have somebody on pantry. I have a couple people that are, they work fry, they work pantry. I don't know if they're going to move down the line or not. I'm not sure. I mean, that's the ultimate goal.
Right.
But you see, even just last night, I have a newcomer, Pulaski Tech. Been out of Pulaski Tech for a little bit, but kind of struggling with the towel tong thing,
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, this might sound weird. I didn't do a whole lot of it at home, but like the place that I worked for a chef that was like, towel tongs, bro. Like that is it. Towel tongs. Like you got to be able to pull stuff, good stuff, get in there. Don't drop anything. Like you got to have tongs in your hand at all times,
That's right.
But you mentioned like being on the center of the line, which is basically like you're plating up and expoing at the same time. Mm-hmm. And you had said like, all right, that's it. Everybody quiet except for me. But you got to get those callbacks. Like you got to get the like, hey, what's up with that medium? I'm trying to sell that medium, or what's up with that well done, or where's this salad at, or any chicken for this, or whatever. Right. That's one of the things that drives me crazy. It's like if I ask questions and they don't do it on purpose. It's just like
it's dead silent.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, it gets on. Yeah, I dealt with that on Saturday night. I was like, hey, give me a time. Where we at? 2 minutes? 3 minutes? And it's just dead. I was like, guys,
tell me something.
Give me just one word.
Have you done much front of the house?
I have not. Yeah. This is going to be funny. I have had 3 jobs in my life. And Mexico Chiquito was one, Walmart was the second one, and Trios has been it. I have been at Trios since I was 18.
That is pretty awesome.
And, I told myself going through the apprenticeship program, I was going to stay at Trios for 3 years, and I was going to head off to something else and learn from somebody else. And, Cappy, when she first met me, she's just like, oh my gosh, she's not going to make it. She's so immature. She's this. And I'm like, I was 18. Like, I'm just out of high school type thing. But I don't know. Like, I wanted to keep learning, and Cappy finally got to a point that she just kind of saw something in me and mentored me up. And when they opened up their Cappies out down Highway 10 in Pleasant Valley or Pleasant Ridge over there, she asked me to be the kitchen manager. And I looked at her, and I think at that time I was 23. Wow. And I'm like, why me? You have guys that have been with you for like 18 years. Right. Like, why me? She's like, they don't want it like you want it. I see that you want it and you want to learn. Yeah. And I was like, okay. I said, well, I'll try my best. Yeah. And I guess that's how I kind of started learning how to do the ordering and the inventory, and kind of, working with the guys, and figured out that I was a great multitasker. Yeah. And leading people, and it's just kind of grown from there. Yeah. So.
I mean, I feel like every conversation that we have, there's just another, layer there. And the ordering process, it's really hard for me to like walk away from the ordering process, which I never will walk away from it. But in order for my sous chef to like really understand it, he's got to do it.
Right.
He has to do it.
Right.
It can't be like, I think I've made mistakes in the past, and I can admit that with like previous managers that we had, where I'm like, I got the orders. It's a trust thing. It's that I don't want to not have this, or I'm worried you're not going to order that. When really I could just be like, hey, don't forget about this, this, and this, which is what I'm trying to do with him, and he's getting better at it. Sometimes a little too close to the line, but
right.
A couple will call pickups recently, but. There is an art to ordering, and knowing so I have some people in my kitchen that have been with me from the beginning. We've been open 4.5 years now, and I have some people that have been with me from the beginning.
Okay.
And they have hiding places. So I'm like, it's crazy, especially if you see my kitchen, how small it is. But I know that, Marco, when I go do the ordering, when I go to the ordering, I know if I'm looking for this, I have to look over here too, because there's a good chance that Marco, he puts some, for himself for tomorrow, because he's going to need it tomorrow and he doesn't want anybody else messing with it. So I look over there. So like teaching that too, which is kind of crazy, but I have 2 people in the kitchen that do that stuff. Or just like looking at prep, like my trucks come in Monday and Thursday. So it's like, all right, man, that's going to last until Thursday. Please don't order that. Or,
It is an art though. My guy, it's going to be interesting when the holidays hit.
Oh, yes.
Because of all the tickets that we take. And right now he wants to over order so much. And I'm like, look, we get a truck Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't need to order 2 cases of green onions when you got a truck coming the next, in 2 days.
Yeah.
You're going to be fine.
You'll be okay.
It's okay. And then you think about whenever it's a slow season or anything like that, it's like, hey, don't over order anything. You're not trying to, spend that much money in the restaurant.
Yeah.
Let's use what we got.
Yeah. Yeah.
And go from there.
Let's go to the farm or let's go do something.
Right. Yeah. But I am like you. I'm having a hard time letting it go. So I've told him, I said, you can do Tuesday and Thursday orders. I'll take over the Saturday orders so I can keep in my rotation.
Yes.
So.
Yes. We definitely do that for sure. Or like you said before, we have a few different purveyors. So we're like, all right, I'll do this, you do them.
That's right.
And then we actually have that young lady I was telling about, Kate. Every once in a while, we'll throw her the produce order and be like, just kind of get her head moving a little bit,
Right.
It's certainly a thing. So listen, this is what I think we do. I say we take a break for a minute, we come back, and I want to talk about Jazz Night.
Okay. Sounds good.
Awesome. We will be right back here on Heaping Spoonful with Shanna Merriweather of Trios.
I hope you're enjoying this episode of Heaping Spoonful. We at Benny Keith Foods enjoy talking about the food scene almost as much as we enjoy providing the top quality ingredients that help restaurateurs and chefs across the Mid-South create their magic. Now let's dive even deeper into the culinary world with your host, Chef Brian McFadden.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Heaping Spoonful. I'm Brian McFadden, sitting here with Shanna Merriweather of Trios. Now, Shanna, you guys were closed on Monday nights for a while, but you just opened back up on Monday nights.
We did. Yesterday was our second Monday open after 8 months of being shut down.
Man, 8 months.
Yeah.
8 months. So are you normally closed on Sundays too?
Yes, when the pandemic hit, we closed down on Sundays. We were open 7 days a week. And then when everything went into to-goes and everything, we decided everybody needed a day off because we all know how the business was during COVID times.
Absolutely. So as you know, I moved down here from Philadelphia, and talking to my cousin, who's my business partner, Jess, talking to Jess before we moved down here, I said, man, I want to be closed on Sundays. I want to be closed 1 day a week, One, that's where I come from. The restaurant that I was at for a while before I moved down here, we were closed on Sundays. And I actually saw the benefit of that. I saw the benefit of being closed 1 day a week. Everybody's off on Sunday, that type of thing. Now, the next place we open up will probably be open 7 days a week, but at least I get a little bit of breather from this restaurant.
Right.
So what's that change like? So, all right, COVID, you shut down on Sundays, and then you're shut down Sunday, Monday. Now getting back into okay, what was that game plan like? A meeting, hey guys, I think we need to get back open.
Well, it was the biggest thing was finding somebody that we were hoping was going to stay. Because in that 8 months of us being shut down, we were hiring people in to train, and it's I was paying an extra person just to be there, and I could never get them trained up to be open 6 days a week at night.
Yeah.
And then when my newest guy came in there, his first night he worked, it was on a jazz night, and, it's an extra 64 people that are ordering off the line whenever the restaurant's full.
Yeah.
And they just threw him in there, and, he just got it like that. No hesitation. And I was like, okay, and I hadn't heard my guys look at me in, 8 months and say, he's good. This is where we need to be. And I went around and they all looked at me and they're like, he's the one. Yeah. And I was like, okay.
Please, can we keep him?
Yes, exactly. And I was like, okay. Yeah. So we went probably about, we went about a month with the new guy coming in just to see if he was going to stick and stay. Mm-hmm. And then I looked at Cappy and Brent and I said, okay. I said, let's pull the trigger. We're going to do this on this date. Yeah. Let's go for it. And went for it on August the 5th.
Oh, there you go.
So
I think that's good because I think it's a good time to like open up that other day because you're just starting to creep back up. Like we're starting to trend up right now. Kids are going back to school, but you get that little bit of like almost like a soft Monday opening until like everybody's, then when they realize you're open, then you're done.
Right.
But you know, one of those things.
Because, you know, there aren't a lot of restaurants, independently owned restaurants open on Monday nights.
Yeah.
You really think about it. I mean, you look through and it's just like, I know you guys are open. We're now open. I know Chalbachi's open.
Yeah.
I think Komori is open. But just little things like that, you know, where you're not having to hit up a chain, I guess.
Yeah.
Type thing.
It's funny too. When we talked about like regional cuisine and stuff earlier, but say everything down here. Well, I shouldn't say everything, but most things in the South now, which I'm not used to, most things in the South are closed Sundays. Mm-hmm. And that's certainly a thing, unless you have like a banging brunch, you know, something like that.
Right.
You guys don't do brunch, right?
No, we did.
Sorry, it's like a curse word. It's a curse word in my book.
It's a little bit, yeah. We did it when Cappy shut down. We moved brunch from Cappy's to Trios, and I think we did brunch for about 7 years.
Whew.
And
it's like a whole other crew.
Yeah, and we only did it one day a week. So then you think about having a menu for just one day a week. That was another thing right there.
I know many places have tried that and done. They certainly didn't last 7 years. Even the place that I'm very proud of that I worked back home before I came down here, Spinnerstown Hotel. We tried to do, again, we were closed on Sundays. We tried to do like a Saturday brunch thing. Mm-hmm. And I feel like one Saturday of the month really made it like worth it, I guess. I don't know. They did it for a couple years and then we're like, we're just not doing this anymore. We're doing like bottomless mimosas and again, a menu that you're only running
one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're afraid to go all in because you're like, I don't know what this is going to bring, but I feel like if you don't commit, I don't know if you feel about brunch the same way that I do, but when people bring up brunch, like people talk about Brood doing brunch all the time, like if I had $1 for every time somebody asked me if we were going to do brunch at Brood, I wouldn't need a job.
Yeah.
And most people don't understand what that takes.
No, brunch is probably one of the hardest shifts to work, I think. I mean, just with all the condiments that everybody wants. And people ask us all the time, are y'all going to open back up? And I'm like, no, I'll say this. I miss our menu.
I gotcha.
But it's not enough for me to open it up.
Yeah. No way. We do like a pop-up every once in a while, but like super limited menu. And, you know, we do that every once in a blue moon. But to have like a brunch, especially, I've never been in the kitchen at Trios, but at Brood, our kitchen is small. I don't have space as it is for storage. So then you're prepping for just one day. You know? And stuff.
Yeah, so I can understand.
When people, the servers will come back every once in a while in the kitchen, they'll be like, hey, table 22, they're wondering when we're going to open up for brunch. I'm like, you tell table 22 to get out.
Right.
I've had enough.
That's right.
But one of the things I really want to talk about today, and you had mentioned it already, and I hear so many people talk about it, including Kevin Shalin, Mighty Rib, is Jazz Night. So we got to talk about Jazz Night. I feel like I'm behind the 8 ball right now. Jazz Night. I have yet to be one. What's going on at Jazz Night?
So Jazz Night, we have a bunch of our local musicians that come in. September will be our second year that it has been going. And I started it with my partner, Rick Horton. He's my music director.
Yes.
And we sat down for probably 7 months trying to figure out all the ins and out of how this is going to work. Me constantly going to Cappy, let me just try this. Let me just try. Like, nobody in town. And this was like after COVID, so there wasn't a lot of music venues around or anything like that. And I'm like, we have our private dining room. It's not booked every day.
Right.
You know, it took a lot of bumps and bruises to figure out the scheme of how everything is set up. But we have it now where we can get 19 tables in there, about 64 people. There's around 7 to 8 musicians that come in, and doors open at 6:30. Music starts at 7, plays till 9. You can have the full menu. We got a full bar. Wait staff's over there. If you want a great date night, you know, it's easy to do. You can go to our website at Trios and follow through our menu and find the jazz night. The link is on there. Or if you want to follow Soul Food Music Group on Eventbrite, it'll automatically email you. It's $20 a ticket. It's the way that we're able to pay the musicians and everything. But it's a great fun night.
I hear so many good things about it, to the point where I hear, so again, I mentioned Kevin Shalin. I didn't wear this shirt on purpose.
I see you got that mighty rib on.
It's what I had clean. But I will wear this, Kevin. I do wear this. But last I talked to him, he was like, Brian, have you been to a jazz night yet? And I was like, I haven't. I have not. And he was like, well, book like a month out. And I was like, is that when you're going to be there next? He's like, no, because the other ones are probably sold out. So you're going to have to, you have to go and you have to get tickets first.
Yes.
You can't walk in.
Not normally. Now, occasionally we have a cancellation the day of, but I mean, that's going to be a thing. Like, you just got to call the restaurant and see if anything has happened. But normally, it's sold out pretty quick, which is great.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's a Thursday night, right?
It's a Thursday. We normally do the second and fourth Thursday of every month.
Nice.
And we have all the dates locked in on our Trios website if you want to look for a future event that's coming up.
Very cool.
And but yeah, it's been great. And I mean, we hear from a lot of people that it reminds them of a club in New York or Chicago. I mean, we try to set the atmosphere and they're really nice.
Yeah.
And
I've seen photos. I've seen some videos that people post online. Do you run, say you're like, all right, we have Thursday night, we got jazz night. I want to run this for a special. Do you run specials for just the room, or do you do any of that kind of stuff? Or you just go a la carte menu?
I just give them just a full-blown menu. When we first started doing it, I remember one night the restaurant got hit so hard, and then we added that to it. And the tickets that were just streaming in there, and I could just see Cappy's face. And, you get to that point, I was just like, Cappy, a step back. Let me handle this. We got this.
Yeah.
And but no, I try not to add anything extra onto it, because when you think about all those tickets coming in, because when the doors open at 6:30, most of the time the restaurant's getting busy at 6:30.
Yeah, that's the time. Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody's just ordering at the same time. I try not to add anything extra to the guys.
Do you guys do a happy hour over there?
We do. It's from 5 to 7, Monday through Friday.
Nice.
And I think we got about 5 different drinks on there.
Heck yeah.
So
I was not as big as I don't have a hatred for happy hour like I have a hatred for brunch. Mm-hmm. But at first, we never planned on doing happy hour. But it's been great. I mean, we do a happy hour too, and it kills. But I have heard things about your happy hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think we got a good price on. I think we're $6 for a cocktail.
Yeah.
I mean, where can you go in town at happy hour and get a old fashioned or something for $6?
Yeah, yeah. And you got a good crew over there too.
Yeah.
You mentioned Stephanie earlier.
Yeah.
I love that woman. She's awesome.
She's like a big sister to me. When I look at all of us there, it's like Cappy and Brent are mom and dad, Stephanie's big sister, you know, and then I'm like the baby trailing in.
She's always so pleasant every time I see her. She's always got a smile on her face, and
She does.
it's good to have that around. It's good to have that happy bubble, you know, that happy person, you know, it's around all the time. It's good, and
Right.
she is there all the time. Am I right by saying that?
She is. She's helping me hold it down right now. So
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Back to jazz night real quick, and then we'll get you out of here because I know you got to go to work.
I do. I actually got a trunk full of stuff I got to unload. I went this morning and was hitting up the Asian market, and I had to go out to Lowe's and get some, you know, little stuff for the smoker, and yeah,
It never stops.
it never stops.
Never stops.
Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to bring up Rick real quick. Jazz night.
Mm-hmm.
So the first dinner that I did with you guys over there for the Hunger Alliance, we did at the lodge over there.
Yes.
He was playing, and I remember the people in the kitchen. Like I was looking at him, and I was like, kind of mesmerized. Like I was like, yeah, this guy can jam. Like this guy can play, and to the point where like, hey, Cabby was like, hey, we're gonna play it up now, and I was like, I'm watching this guy play. I was like, I tried to make it out later to see him more, but by then the music was done. But he kills it.
He does. He's an amazing musician. And I mean, the fact that he can wrangle all those guys in together and come up with a great show like he does, I mean, I give him props all the way around.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And Maddie Schatz, too. You got the Maddie Schatz over there every once in a while. I actually just saw that picture. I don't know if I sent it to you, or you might have taken the picture and sent it to me. But it's the four of us, actually, at the last Hunger Alliance.
Well, I think they're a staple in it now. You know, I think Cappy brought them in about 3 years ago. Originally, she just wanted like the keys and a guitar player, and I think the guitar player like bailed on him at the last minute, which is how Matt got in at this time. And I looked at Cappy and I was like, you know what? I think this is a better fit than the other way. And but every year they're just, hey, hit Rick up. This is a date. This is what we're doing.
That's awesome.
Get him out there for the Serving Up Solutions. I said, okay.
That's so awesome. Now, Serving Up Solutions is an event that you guys have done for like 18, 19 years now?
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't remember the first one. I mean, if you really think about it, if it's been 18 or 19, I'm 23 years in at Trios. That means that I wasn't that important back then. I was still just a little, line cook. But yeah, Cappy told me that they started it back then, and they were doing it in the private dining room. It was very small back then. Obviously, if we could fit it in our private dining room, but look at it now. It's grown to, how many did we do this last time?
Almost 300 people, right?
Yeah.
That, I mean, to me, is nuts. And on top of that, so and Benny Keith donates the food for it. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's even more amazing.
That's right.
And the first year, I think I've done it 3 years.
Yes, I think this is your third year that you did it.
I think that's right.
Because the group we have right now, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
We just
it's
like knock it out, and
it's an event that I will never not try to be included in. You know, it's so awesome, and for such a good cause. But again, there's another angle, like plating up 250, 300 people.
Right.
And coordinating that is crazy.
That's right.
Crazy. But it's so awesome. I really appreciate you coming in today. I have one more thing. We just have to plan a night out. I mean, we talked about going out, grabbing my wife, grabbing some friends, and like going out and drinking. I mean, maybe there's food too, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll probably be food too.
Yeah,
We hit a couple spots up, you know. But we have to figure that out. We have to figure that out.
I agree with you on that. And the problem is like most of us are off on Sundays.
Yeah.
What are we hitting up on Sundays?
Yeah. The laundry room, doing laundry.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I definitely agree. We do need to, get out there and go have some drinks, go have a good time.
Yeah, talk some crap.
Yeah. 100%.
I know Shane's trying to plan like a chef's night out. He's done it once or twice before, just kind of like chefs meet up somewhere and just, again, just talk some crap. And what do you got going on this week? share stories about people calling out or showing up late or not,
Right.
not showing up at all.
Right.
It's always fun stuff. Well, Shanna, I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And we will do this again. Yeah, we'll plan it out. I'd like to thank everybody over here at Benny Keith, especially General Manager Rusty Mathis, and of course Rob Nelson is the head of technology over here at Benny Keith, and he's making us sound good right now. Rob, thank you so much. We'll see you next time on Heaping Spoonful.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Heaping Spoonful. On behalf of all of us at Benny Keith Foods, Mid-South Division, please know how much we love connecting you with the legends of the culinary scene and their unique stories. I look forward to the next time we can offer you another Heaping Spoonful.